Confessions of a Black Girl. My name's Tiara Thomas. I'm a Communications and African American Studies major at the University of California, Los Angeles. I'm 20 years old.
Hello, my name is Deja Fields. I'm a third-year musical theater major and I'm 21 years old.
My name is Sierra Black. I am a third year at UCLA studying political science and African American studies, and I'm 20 years old.
Okay, hi, I'm Autumn Silv. I'm a third year. I'm a theater major and I'm 20 years old.
One of the courses I'm currently taking this quarter at UCLA is called Racism, Survival, and the Black Horror Aesthetic, known as the Sunken Place.
I actually took the Sunken Place course last quarter, and that was the first time that the professor had taught that class, and it's still one of my favorite classes.
In this course, we're exploring the concept of the sunken place.
A lot of things in Black life can be perceived as horror just because of the way that we've been treated in our society.
What I understand the sunken place as basically being ignorant and oblivious to white supremacy and how institutionalized racism works.
The Sunken Place.
Well, the sunken place isn't like just a physical place, it's a mental thing.
The Sunken Place is,
A lot of people get mistaken for cultural appropriation. They believe that it's more natural.
the barrier of self-understanding and self-discovery. It's like a place of imprisonment.
I think the sunken place is just when you're just genuinely lost with your blackness or your identity as a black person.
So people who don't understand white supremacy or the institution and system of racism.
And I think it's just a state of mind where people are just lost and don't know who they are and can't recognize their blackness.
I think the sunken place is really a trap.
And with that being said, and as we know, this is Confessions of a Black Girl, I'm going to admit that I used to be in the sunken place.
Have I ever been in the sunken place? Hell no.
Have I ever been in the sunken place? Yes, for a long time.
Me? Sunken? No. I'm woke. Stay woke! You feel me?
Have I ever been in the sunken place?
I was in the sunken place pretty much until like the second half of my freshman year of college.
Stay woke! Niggas creeping.
I feel like it's a spectrum because I feel like I haven't really fully like been in the sunken place. Like I haven't been drowned or anything like in the sunken place, but like there are certain things that I remember thinking in my life that were definitely like ignorant.
How did I get to the sunken place?
Well, nowadays I think it's very easy to get stuck in the sunken place.
I always had like an identity crisis, like being a black girl in America.
Like I was the only black person, or the only black girl, for sure the only black girl, growing up from like kindergarten all the way through high school.
I think people get into the sunken place by simply not just being lost, but purely laziness.
I think people don't intentionally get into the sunken place. I think people are in the sunken place and they don't even know it.
Like everyone that I hung out with was white.
A lot of people don't know who they are, don't know where they came from, and don't even recognize their cultural or just their blackness in general.
It was worse when I went to middle school, because when I went to middle school I transferred from like a public school to a private Catholic school.
I was blind to what white supremacy was. I kind of really thought white was the right thing to be.
How do you not know who you are? How do you not accept your blackness?
It can be really easy to slip into the sunken place and just not even realize that you're in it.
I fell into the concept of whiteness being superior, and so that caused me to be like ashamed and like insecure and like afraid of my blackness. And now when I think about it, I'm just like, wow, I was lost, but I was definitely in the sunken place all the way up to like the 12th grade.
Yeah, I was in the sunken place my whole life because it was just all white people everywhere I went.
Unfortunately, I'm gonna say that the majority, if not 90% of my friends were white.
A lot of men get stuck into the sunken place today because they're stuck with white women.
There's so many experiences because I was just around the plague a lot. The plague of white people.
When my friends would be like, oh, I like black guys, they'd be like, oh, me too, but
I know that sounds very problematic. Love whoever you want. Love thy neighbor. Peace to my fellow white man.
I can remember in high school, literally almost every white person I knew used the N-word. Like, everybody.
I let a lot of things pass that I shouldn't have let pass. Like, one of my friends, like, she would wear cornrows and I'd be like, oh, those are cute. Like, just thinking like, oh, she likes black stuff, she must be cool, or she must not be racist just because she liked black stuff, not knowing that it was like appropriation or exploitation.
Me being the only black girl in a lot of my friend groups, I just put up with a lot.
For the simple fact, they do not understand your struggle.
Things where I should have confronted people about, I didn't, because I was in the sunken place. And so I thought it was okay. I thought it was okay to hear white people saying the N-word all the time. I thought it was okay for white people to tokenize me and to basically exploit me.
Okay, so first of all, my last name is Black. So just being that, I got picked on so much for my last name being Black that I like wanted to disassociate myself from anything black.
When I did try to talk about my blackness, I knew that it made the white people I was around so often uncomfortable, so I didn't.
Every time in class when they'd be like, oh, if we'd be talking about like the black experience, everyone would be like, at me, I'd be like,
now I'm proud to talk about my blackness. Like, I love being black. And that causes me to realize I was really ashamed of the fact that I was black the more white spaces I was in.
Black women, black men being with white women or white men, it's really difficult because how can you be relatable to the other side?
And my cousin, she was like my best friend, the person who I was closest to, she was mixed. And she was so beautiful. Like, she had long, like, curly hair that went down her back.
I was only in 3rd grade, but I had been the only black girl since the time that I was basically in school.
Being so young, kids are really cruel. Like, kids are so mean sometimes.
She drew this picture of me, and I remember she was like laughing with this little boy Peter, like snickering like across the classroom.
Being like 5 years old and being somewhere like church and people just being like, your cousin is prettier than you. And I really associated that with her being light skinned and a lot lighter than I was and basically closer to white.
She like came up to me and she's like, Autumn, here's this picture I drew of you, it's so pretty, blah blah, and she just laughed and she walked away. And then I looked at the picture and it was of this little black girl with these 2 afro puffs. But the thing is that she colored my skin literally with a black crayon.
And so I was like, dang, my blackness is like, I was ashamed of it. I thought being black was being ugly.
The only thing that I really struggled when it comes to my blackness is my hair.
I used to perm my hair. And so like every time like my roots would be showing a little bit, like it would grow out, they would be like, perm your, oh, I'm not supposed to cuss.
Growing up, my dad, he would grace me with compliments, and I feel like as a black woman, to really be confident, you needed to grow up with that kind of with someone encouraging you to love your blackness.
They always be like, perm your weave, Sierra, perm your weave. And I'm like, first of all, can't perm a weave, doesn't make sense. If you have a perm, why would you have a weave? If you have a weave, right.
And one thing that my dad didn't really push was loving your natural hair.
I remember one time there was like this like anonymous app thing, and they were like, Sierra's hair sounds like a trash bag, because they said like black girl's hair is always dry, so like when you crinkle a trash bag, that's what my hair sound like.
Today I recognize what it is, and I love my natural hair, and I also love the fact that as a black woman I have the opportunity to be versatile, and I can wear my afro one day and I can wear this weave the next, and I can wear a wig the next day, and I can wear crochet braids, you feel me?
I was really upset too, because the person who I found out said that was the only other black boy in my class, so I'm like, everybody was in the Sunken Place.
I could tell she kind of wanted to be my friend, like, but there was one particular incident where we were together and we were playing. Her brother, like, I don't even remember why, he like stopped her, whatever.
I remember I was friends with a Latina girl, and we would sit on the bus and sing High School Musical together all the time in the 1st grade.
And he said, oh, like something blah blah blah, that girl, that girl. And then like he walked away. I was like, why does he keep calling me that girl? And she was like, oh, yeah, it's because you're black.
I remember one time she said I couldn't sing any of Gabriella's parts, and I was like, why? And she said, because you don't look like her. And so I was like, well,
That was the first time ever in my life where I felt like my identity had just completely been invalidated and disrespected.
It makes me realize how important representation is, because I was like, I don't fit that like light mixed girl or light skin or basically white. I don't fit into any of those categories, and so I thought something was wrong with me.
And I think if anything, that was like the first lesson of like that I learned of like how racism is really taught.
People think just because you have a weave that you're in the sunken place. People think just because you have a weave that you don't love your natural hair, where all of that is wrong. I have a weave because I'm purely lazy.
I remember one experience where it was our high school and it was like a basketball game. This team, and that team was like predominantly black, right? So we were in the stands and there was this white girl sitting in front of me.
Even in high school, there was a girl that like I was really good friends with and who I actually enjoyed being around. But she just used to say really problematic things.
And she was like, oh my god, like black people are so ghetto, looking at the other team. And this was like the only time that I ever said something. I was like, what?
Things like she would say like, oh, why are you talking ghetto? Oh, I mean black. Like she would just like make comments like that. And
there was another experience I had my freshman year of high school where a teacher said to me, you are so white and I'm so proud of you.
And she was like, oh, but not you, you're different, you're the good kind. And then in my head I was like,
and I just was like, okay.
But I didn't say anything because like I really never said anything.
Like, oh, like how they didn't date Mexican guys because like Mexican guys have dark skin and like dark skin is dirty to them. And meanwhile, I'm just like,
Grew up with a lot of people who did not understand your blackness. A lot of people who did not know why you're in this class because you're smart. Like the idea of just being a smart black girl was really, really distant.
People used to call me an Oreo all the time, and so it was like, to the white kids, I wasn't like them. I wasn't like the other black people.
I mean, I would be called like an Oreo a lot.
I reached a point, I think it was like 11th grade, where I just was done putting up with white people being disrespectful for the sake of them just not knowing and being like inherently ignorant and stuff.
They always tell me that I was ghetto for like literally saying anything. Like I talked pretty normal, I guess you could say, but if I said the word y'all, they'd be like, you're ghetto, you're ratchet, like all that kind of stuff. Like I literally couldn't do anything, couldn't breathe.
Do you think they will understand? Do you really think they will? I'm gonna let you think on that.
Couldn't roll my eyes because I have black girl attitude.
I had to prove myself growing up, like I am a black woman, this is who I am, accept it, take it or leave it.
They would call me like ashy when first of all I was never ashy because my mom would never let me leave the house ashy, but they would like do a lot of things like that, or they would like make fun of me. They'd be like, oh, you use cocoa butter, huh? And just be laughing like, and?
But then again, also at that time, to a lot of black kids, they would call me white as well. And so I just grew up with this identity crisis because I listened to all of these things people were calling me and telling me, and these things that I seen on TV, and I just didn't know who I was. Like I was confused.
It was bad.
So escaping the sunken place was really a process. Like if I did not come to college, I wouldn't have escaped. I wouldn't have got out of the sunken place.
In order to get out of the sunken place, I feel like it's a choice.
How did I get out of the sunken place? Honestly, just through education, through changing the people that I hung out with, through learning more about stuff.
I feel like it's a choice to recognize that you're in the sunken place. And how do you recognize that? Is with knowledge. So go out there, read some books, and then maybe you'll learn that, hey, I'm sunk.
Freshman year called African American Studies M5 by Professor Hunter. And that was really the first time I learned true and actual black history.
Yeah, so I got out of the sunken place basically by like education, changing the people that I hung around with, the different activities that I got into.
Coming to college, I learned all these things about the greatness of black people and who we really are. And then I realized I was in the sunken place. Like I was asleep. Like I didn't know anything about myself and my ancestors and my blackness.
In order to get out of the sunken place, you need to recognize that you're in the sunken place. It's all about what you know. And if you know that me kissing this white man don't feel right, then maybe you need to wake up.
And so once I acknowledged that, I was able to be like, okay, time for me to read, time for me to learn.
Okay, I'm not a racist. I love white people.
I still need to learn how to play spades.
The trauma that's enacted upon Black people in America is something that's really serious, and I do appreciate Get Out for its creative take on that.
And so it's like we also have to acknowledge, as Black people, we do sometimes like push people into the sunken place. And it's important to really try to pull each other out. And that's the ultimate goal, trying to get up out of the sunken place, you know, wake up, realize that we have to fight the power. We need a revolution in order to escape white supremacy. We have to break the whole institution down.
I'm just happy that this topic and idea is brought up. A lot of people didn't believe that a sunken place was real. And I think that people should just continue growing and learning about their Blackness and loving it.
That's it.
But I really do appreciate Jordan Peele for his beautiful creation, Get Out. I think it's such an important film.
Shout out to Jordan Peele for coming through to UCLA. He not only brought his knowledge, but he brought his movie and his Black man magic, and I just love that. Thank you.
Anyways, I'm gonna see you next time on Confessions of a Black Girl. It's been TNT. I believe the sunken place is a concept. So, tell me the experience about you going to school and the white kids being like, "Scary, here's an appy."
Oh yeah.